The US of A. One of the most dominant countries in the athletic world. I mean, just look at the amount of medals that the US gets in every single winter and summer game. Pretty good at basketball, pretty good at baseball, hockey, you name it, except for soccer. Mate, it's cause you call it f***ing soccer. Get it right, it's football. Well, I mean, I don't know, you might have a point there. But seriously though, why do we struggle so much in the most popular sport in the world? I mean, bruv, we didn't even make it to the 2018 World Cup because we lost to Trinidad. No offense to the bros over at Trinidad. I mean, the highest we've ever placed was 3rd, and that was in 1930. And the weird thing is that you would think that the United States, being a very diverse country, would have a dream team with people from different parts around the world. I mean, you can have someone who has Mexican roots, Italian roots, German, Japanese, and much more in one team. Kind of like a club. So I decided to figure this out once and for all, compiled all the information out there on the internet, and put it all into this video as to reasons why we struggle at football. Starting off with reason number 1, pay to play. Now, I didn't know this until I searched it up, but the United States is one of the few countries that require youth players to pay in order to play. So essentially, if you're, starting off and you're a young lad and you're trying to go out there, like, oh, I'm going to be in my football team, I'm going to play with my friends, and then they'll be like, all right, here's the bill, and then you'd be like, bruh. And apparently, from what I've researched, in Europe, majority of the clubs don't actually require you to pay, mainly due to the fact that the actual men's team has enough money to pay the youth team. So let's put Man City for instance. Man City, the actual men's team, goes out and play and gets a lot of money from playing matches, tournaments, and etc. So they definitely have a lot left over to cover the youth team, so they can just focus on finding actual talent. While football isn't as big in the United States, with the MLS not really that popular, although it is growing. So you have to pay in order to get into the youth team, which actually is pretty bad because it weeds out really talented players. I mean, to think of it, people like Messi, Modric, Neymar, Zlatan, Ronaldo, all these guys came from poverty. And moving on to the second reason, football in school. Now, in the United States, throughout schools and colleges, there isn't enough money going into football. And that's mainly because it's just not as popular. People are more likely to watch games like American football or basketball. While once again, in other parts of the world, football is the #1 sport and everyone wants to play, so there's a lot of money invested in it. And because of the lack of funding and popularity, students that have great athletic talent and build that could have been really good footballers decided to go on to other sports. I mean, like, imagine if LeBron James, Tom Brady, or Michael Phelps would have been in the pitch. Well, I guess we can only dream. Moving on to the next point, number 3, size. Now, the US is a pretty big country, and because of that, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to find out talent. Scouts can only go to so many cities, so they go to the most populated cities, but actually some of the best US players came from the most remote cities, like Clint Dempsey came from Nacogdoches, I think that's how you say it, or Christian Pulisic comes from Hershey, Pennsylvania, and yes, that is where Hershey, the candy bar, was founded, if you were wondering. As a matter of fact, with Clint Dempsey, he actually had to travel to the nearest populated city just to play football, which was a 6-hour round trip every day. Bruh. So yeah, given the amount of space and remote cities and everything, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult to find the Ronaldo of Wyoming or the Messi of Montana. And moving on to the fourth point, last but certainly not least, money. Yes, money, moolah, that dough, that fulala, that dinero, the dinar, that pound. So there's no doubt that some people who want to be potential athletes are going to pick sports that pay out the most, and football in the United States is definitely not one of those sports. It's not like in Europe how you get paid millions. Actually, as a matter of fact, most players in the MLS get paid anywhere between 50K to 100K, which is really low. I mean, actually, the average Brazilian top league player makes close to 1 million, and the average Mexican player makes about 500K. So you're really getting the short end of the stick if you're playing football in the United States. And because of that, the MLS is not competitive competitive, but there is light in the horizon. Football is getting pretty popular in the United States, and at the same time, countries like France have done certain things to change up their whole structure and how they train their players and find potential talent. And you know, they won the last World Cup, so let me know if you guys want to see that video explaining why France came from zero to hero. But with big teams like Atlanta United, LAFC, and also Inter Miami, which is actually owned by David Beckham, all this is showing that there's big changes coming to the US, which means there's going to be more money going into soccer or football, whatever you want to call it, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to qualify in the next World Cup. But that's it. I'm done. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and yeah, take it easy, guys.